Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So as you know, as announced earlier, and I think EPIC has many committees. EPIC has about 15, 16 committees, and that is the way how the committee, the community members, although they are not part of the board of directors, this is the way through the committees they can come in, offer their ideas, suggestions, come up with plans and execute their ideas and everything that we do. So that's the way for the community members to join the committee, offer their ideas, come up with a plan and execute, and then take EPIC to the next level, inshallah ta'ala. Out of the 14 committees, 14, 15 committees that EPIC has, there are some committees that are outward facing. One such committee is the outreach committee. Outward facing because we deal with external entities. We deal with other external organizations and individuals. That includes government agencies, law enforcement agencies, and whatnot. So that is outreach. The reason why we are doing this today is so we show the importance of us participating in outreach committee and the work within outreach, especially during now the current times that we have seen, okay? So without further ado, let me just start off. Outreach committee in the past 2 years. Now keep in mind the COVID, the shutdowns and whatnot, and then some of the other incidents that had happened in the past. So in total, we have done 44 programs in the past 2 years. This includes some milestones, all the different types of programs, events, and this was never done in the history of EPIC in the past, in 2-year term, okay? So, let me see if this works. Is it not? Okay, I'm just doing it by myself. So I'm going to just go through, this is the agenda for this. And the purpose of this presentation, again, as I mentioned, it is important that for us to understand the importance and how we can participate and what we need to do going forward with the outreach committee. At the same time, seeing what we have done. And of course, by no means we have done everything that we needed to do. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We get started. We have done. Outreach has been doing many years. For many years, EPIC has outreach committee, and they have done great work, mashallah. And this, in the past 2 years, we kind of added and then see. So that is the purpose of this presentation. Now, every committee has, just like how we have the vision and mission for EPIC, outreach committee also has a vision and a mission. So we updated the vision and the mission of the outreach committee to be more relevant for the current times now. We consulted with our religious scholarship. Sheikh Yasir also participated, mashallah. He suggested the vision and the mission. So this is the new vision and the mission of the outreach committee that you can see. Okay. The focus areas of outreach. So we divided, of course, outreach is a very vast scope, has a very big scope, of which we decided, okay, you know what, let's focus on these 4 areas. We have dawah, we have interfaith, civic engagement, and also our new Muslims, revered brothers and sisters. This is one of the areas that we needed to focus on. Okay, so these are the focus areas of focus that EPIC has. Okay. Now the dawah programs. We have done many dawah programs. Now dawah, you can invite, there's multiple definitions. I'm not a scholar. I'm not all that literate in the field of dawah and whatnot, but I rely on the team who has expertise in that field. Based on their expertise, we learned that dawah is verbal, by actions, by support, by our behavior and whatnot. All comprehensively together, we had done some of these programs. This program that you see on there, we worked with very closely. We started with the youth. So the PESH MSA at the time, they were doing a World Hijab Day. So what they do is they get hijabs and they offer hijabs to people from the other faith, and this is what that was. At the time, the MSA president, the MSA team, I think Mustafa was the president at the time, so and then our youth director, mashallah, Sheikh Murad, Sister Sophia, they were there, they helped out. It was a good time. It was a good opportunity for them to get connected with the youth at the school level, at the high school level. That was one program we did. We did virtual open houses. Obviously, with the pandemic and whatnot, the options were limited. So some of the things that we could do. But at the same time, we were really nimble. We were adaptive. We saw what we could do, and we jumped on the opportunity, and we started doing whatever best we can. And so we did a virtual open house, and this was, mashallah, very well attended. We got a lot of good feedback. Dr. Sabil Ahmed, our own Sheikh Yasir, mashallah, Sister Amina, and we did have a very good turnout with this one. This recording is online as well, so if you get a chance, do visit this. So open house, we did that. Next, we did frontline workers. Obviously, this last 2 years, we had this opportunity where we ran into this situation where the frontline workers really, really stepped up and got highlighted for their services that they had offered, especially during the pandemic. So we wanted to appreciate them. So we did that. So we have very good relationships we went across the hospitals, and within the pandemic, and when we went and we supported, appreciated them. And then also, Children's Hospital, we went to the Children's Hospital. There are children who are terminally, they're ill, and they're in the long-term hospitals, right? Chronically ill, that is. So what they do is they have this program where we all take books, their school supplies, and offer blankets, coloring books, and all of that. So when they get these gifts from us, they get really happy. So we work really well with that. We used to have Epic in the past had this team called Epic Cares, and Epic Cares was responsible for doing these programs, okay? Now, some of these programs, what we did, we merged Epic Cares under the umbrella of Epic, okay? We wanted Epic to be its own brand, and that was not have multiple brands. We said Epic by itself is a brand enough, and underneath that, we do all these programs. So that was one of the programs that we had done. We have taken the school supplies, the blankets, and whatnot. This was all done by the youth, by the way. All of this, the school supplies, everything, was done by our youth, mashallah, the youth teams. Blankets, gloves, and all that. So we take this, especially after the pandemic, we realized that there's a lot of things that we needed to do, and we stepped up, and we got that done as well. We work with many organizations in South Dallas, and they deal with a lot of homeless shelters, homeless people that are living on the streets. They need, in this cold weathers, they need help. So we went and we started taking food, blankets, and whatnot, and we started distributing them in those areas as well. Obviously, we got youth involved with that as well. As you can see, we were very well received. We have very good relationship with homeless shelters, the social welfare organizations such as Our Calling, the Glows, Garland Glows. There's many other organizations, the homeless shelters that we work with now, okay? And anytime they need help, just a good example, the last 3 days were very cold. And so the shelter from Garland, they reached out to Epic and said, hey, can you help us out? Because we have that relationship now. We have a very good working relationship now. We don't have to go look for the opportunities. We already announced that we are here. They know of Epic now. So they reached out to us, said, hey, can you help us out? We said, absolutely. And we jumped in and we took breakfast for them. We volunteered for the slots that we needed to. And then they pick up homeless people from the streets, and they take them to the shelter, kept them there for 2-3 days overnight, and then send them out in the morning. So Epic now has that, mashallah. So winter storm, we already talked about that quite a bit. We're all familiar with it. We did what we needed to do for the winter storm, mashallah. So these are homeless warming shelters. You can see that this was part of that programs that we did. See, one of the things that we run into is Epic, we've always been on the defensive. We didn't show what we can do. We've always shown what we are not. We always ended up talking about who we are not. We wanted to, as Sheikh Umar Suleiman says, we didn't get a chance to say who we are and what we can do. And this is our opportunity, alhamdulillah, and we availed it. Food packing. This was one of a major event that we did right here at Epic. Again, this was in conjunction with U.S. Hunger, Compassionate DFW, Richardson Interfaith Alliance, and then Feed the Children Everywhere. Okay, that was one of their projects, Feed the Children Everywhere. And they were surprised to see how we pulled off this major event for the very first time. They never packed 100,000 boxes. We helped them pack 100,000 boxes right here at Epic. That hosted 1,000 volunteers at Epic, and they came from different faiths. And Sheikh Yasir, the mayor of Richardson, the mayor of Plano, the police chief, the fire chiefs, all of them, they were here from the civic engagements. Day of Dignity, another same program. These were programs that were from before as well, and we continued with it, mashallah. Food pantries. Again, we had relationships with them, but now we have much better relationship with them. Now we are much closer with them. Now we have a plaque at NTFB, Eastbourne Islamic Center's plaque over there. Now we can call them, they call us. Anytime they need anything, they call us. We went to a network of ministries in the Richardson area. They have a full-time food pantry. They distribute clothes, shoes, and whatnot. So we have a very good working relationship with them now. So NTFB was one of our big partners now. We also did the peanut butter drive, where couldn't remember, it was 7,000, some 8,000, close to 8,000 pounds of peanut butter jelly we donated. And this was a drive that we did, and you all participated. Again, building relationships with our youth at the university level, schools and universities. We made it accessible to them. They had lots of questions for us. So we said, okay, we can bring them in, connect them with our shuyukh, our leadership. No gray areas. They can directly go talk. So this was one of the efforts that, inshallah, that we need to continue on. So give our youth a chance to work with our religious scholarship directly without Samir or anybody else in the middle. They should be able to interact with them directly. This was an effort towards that. And we had that other program with the Texas Bro Out. That was another organization that came to Epic. This was not a specific organization. It's a team of youth from all over Texas and all over the nation. They came to Epic. They said, we want to do this program at Epic. And they did this a few weeks ago, I mean. Yeah, and over here. And it was a very successful program. And it was Mufti Kamani, many of the scholars were here. You're all familiar with it. Abdul Nasir Jangla, Sheikh Jangla, yep. Then we did, again, a lot of times, we have to adhere to the current affairs. What is happening in the current way? The current affairs, the events that are happening right now, and we needed to reflect on it. We needed to act and say something about it. This was the program in response to that with Dr. Zakir Naik. This was the first time, by the way, a background story on this one. Dr. Zakir Naik, after he moved from India to Malaysia, he didn't do any programs, and he was not yet live on YouTube. Okay, this was after he moved to Malaysia. This program, when he agreed to do this program with Epic, after that he said, since I've done that program, it gave me a launch pad. And then he said he started doing his videos and his lectures online. He said this was very, very good and successful, and he thanked us for that. Now, some of the interfaith, those were some of the dawah programs that we had done. Agreed? So those were some of the dawah programs that we did. And again, dawah, everybody have their own definition. For me, it's very simple. By behavior, by verbal, by action, on whatnot. Again, interfaith. We needed to build our relationship, the relationship with our neighbors. Okay? Our neighbors right here, the trailer homes. We went there, we talked to them. They don't know what we do. You guys, we don't know what we do at Epic. So that's a failure on us. So we wanted to build a relationship with them. Similarly with the churches, right? So, and the relationship needed to be built with the entity Epic, not with individual Samir or X, Y, and Z. Because today I'm here, tomorrow I'm not going to be here. But they should know of Epic. And that is what our goal was. with this. So alhamdulillah, we visited many more churches, many more churches. You can see the Wood Creek. We have the, what's the other one? I'm trying to remember. The Waters Creek one is right here. Wood Creek is on Spring Creek, and then, on the Renner Road. Some of these are really evangelical churches also. They're not very open to meeting with us and working with us. But alhamdulillah, we were able to break the ice, get in touch with them, and work with them. The mayor is so familiar with EPIC now, and thanks to some of the team members, mashallah, over here, Zakir bhai, Fazal bhai, and some of these brothers, mashallah, they have done a fantastic job in presenting EPIC. And now he knows off the top of his head all the different programs EPIC does. And it's an achievement, right? It's an achievement, mashallah. And you can see some of the events that we had done. Sharing Ramadan. Again, Sharing Ramadan is a yearly program that happens at EPIC for years now. And we did the same thing, but this time around it was because of the pandemic, the attendance, we needed to limit the number of people, limit the attendance for it. And so therefore we first cut out the volunteers, only bare minimum volunteers we needed only. Outside of that, we invited as many guests as possible, keeping the safety guidelines in place. And for that, mashallah, this was an amazing, successful program. Now, how do I say that, right? Because the feedback that we have gotten from some of the pastors and all, right? I'll give you an example. The Spring Creek Church pastor, he, mashallah, I went to Harvard as well. Our sheikh went to Yale. So they have this little bit. So when he came here and he heard our Sheikh Yasir given his talk, he was very impressed and he understood. And then he gave us an opportunity. He opened up. And now we have a good relationship. Now he works, he knows of EPIC. He doesn't know of individuals, but he knows of EPIC and he knows Sheikh Yasir. That was our goal. Now, civic engagement programs. Again, you know of the incidents that happened, and then we did one such program like this one, the systemic racism. You're familiar with it. This was again in response to the current affairs, what is happening currently and how we deal with it. We did these programs. Those are all under the civic engagements. We did candidate forums. MashaAllah, our civic engagement lead, Brother Zain Imam, right? The Zain, he is in law school now. He was a senior at Rice, studying political sciences. A youth, he was our lead for the civic engagement track of EPIC outreach team. He led these candidate forums. He was the guy who was anchoring these programs. We did this, and mashallah, it was very successful. We also encourage our community members, voter registrations. We also created a promotional video to encourage our community members to go vote. We also worked really closely. We worked with the mayor. He told us, guys, I need your community members to participate in the boards and commissions of the city, the planning and zoning, the healthcare and whatnot, right? So we encouraged that as well. We did that as well. And alhamdulillah, now with all of those programs in place, right, we started the awareness. As I said, this is the beginning. And we need to continue to build and build really good on it, inshallah. The Black History Month, right? This is another one that we did. Again, you notice that, the African Americans, we are very diverse, but at the same time, we have these lines that are keeping us a little bit apart than it needs to be. So some of these programs, right here at EPIC, we did that program, and then we did one online as well. Inshallah, this February as well, there's going to be a part 2 of that coming up. Imam Siraj Wahaj looks like a lion, doesn't he? Alhamdulillah, EPIC is now a polling station. Takbir. Guys, we have no idea how important and how big of a milestone this is. You can vote right here at EPIC. Wow. So you can see we are listed as a polling station. March 1st, right here at EPIC. Now you have no excuse not to vote. Takbir. And I want to acknowledge Brother Fazal Sayyed. Fazal Bhai, please stand up, Fazal Bhai. I think Fazal Bhai did right here, my brother Fazal Sayyed. Fazal Bhai, stand up. I'm not going to stop until you stand up. Jazakallah khair, Fazal Bhai. Fazal Bhai, mashallah, took the lead of this effort along with other brothers, mashallah, but he took the lead and he made sure that we adhere to all the requirements. And they have very strict requirements. And mashallah, we fulfilled all the requirements, all the paperwork, and now Epic is a polling station. It's a major, major achievement, mashallah, right? Yeah. And so now they will see, this is going to the beginning of this, right? So now we can show them our impact. Like when they see us coming to the masjid, they're like, whoa, that many people, wow. And then start to pay attention to us, inshallah, right? The new Muslim programs, again, this is an area where we need a lot of work. A lot of times we see new Muslims, mashallah, in our community, you see shahadas after shahadas after shahadas, right? But what happens after that? Where do they go? What is our program to keep them here, right? Most of the times, the kind of help they need is social. You know, their family support, they don't have that. They need help finding jobs, right? They need help in learning about Islam, right? And then, last but not least, they also sometimes need financial help, right? But what happens is, we don't have a solid program in place to help the new Muslims become, once they become Muslims, a track that they can go through, a course or a program that they go through, and at the end of which, they are ready to contribute to the masjid and help other new Muslims. So that's the program that we need to focus on. And at this point, we have appointed Imam Nadeem as the lead for this particular program. And we are working on, inshallah, but it's not there where it needs to be. But the process has begun already. And with the pandemic and all that, we didn't go as far as we wanted to, but nevertheless, we have evaluated a lot of different aspects of this and finally come to a plan now. It might or it might not work, but we are ready to try it out. If it doesn't, we're going to change. We're going to try something else, inshallah. That's the idea behind this new Muslim programs. Yeah. And then we also, just to encourage them, we did many programs for the new sisters as well. We did invite them for socials. We gave them gifts during Thanksgiving and whatnot. They were really excited. But again, the idea, the goal, the target is for them, when they come to the masjid, become a Muslim, we want them to be here and then contribute back, give it back to the community. That's our goal, inshallah. Now, with that, those are some of the programs that we have done. In total, as I mentioned, we have done 44 programs the last 2 years. Right? We have now become part of the Richardson Interfaith Alliance group. We are now part of the Plano Interfaith group as well. We're working towards that, right? So they know us now. We are also working very closely with the mayor's office to see how we can get funds to help social programs like food pantries and things like that. We have a good relationship with NTFB and whatnot to be able to help us with that, okay? So one of the criteria that I look at it, that we need to focus on, the incident that happened in New Zealand in the past. When that incident happened, it gave us a measure, a scale, right? Epic being Epic, the size of what Epic is, we are right now, not one organization came in our support or show support to us. Not one. We didn't get anything. Nobody called us. Nobody said a word saying, we are with you. Don't worry. Anything as such. That was an eye-opening thing, right? And that showed that we are not doing our job properly. We need to do more. We need to show our presence more, right? We need to be we need to be doing work that will make the media pay attention to us. We're not there yet. We have all the resources. It's just that we're not there. The other day, we went to synagogue. There's a synagogue in Garland. We went there because the rabbi is part of the Richardson Interfaith Alliance group. So we went there, and we saw how organized, how many lobbies they have. At the end of their service, they talk about the news from Israel. They talked about the UN resolution that was passed to stop any anti-Semitism and anything against that in any of the social media. They provided that news to them. Now you cannot write anything on the social media against it, right? So it showed how strong they are. We have, mashallah, the brothers' lobbies who do the work, but what can we do as EPIC to make them more powerful, to make our voices heard? And that is what the goal of outreach should be. The goal should be, why can't the governor of Texas know about EPIC? Why can't the president of the United States know about East Plain Islamic Center? You should be able to. But the programs that we need to do for that, we have to come together, and inshallah we can do it. We set the target up, and we'll go from there. So some of the areas of focus that we have identified, inshallah, are on the screen for you that we can focus on. And last but not the least, I'm here, standing here, just so happen to stand here, talking in front of you, but I do not deserve 1 ounce of the credit for everything that was done. Not 1 ounce. Because I'm just happen to be here talking to you, making myself look good. No, that's not it. Don't go with that. Because the people who work behind this are someone else, okay? Board of Directors, I'd like to thank the Board of Directors. MashaAllah, they have given support, all the Board of Directors, especially Imran Chaudhry or Amir, and my partner in crime, Basir Bhai, Yaya Bhai, Riyad Bhai, all of those guys, mashallah, they are always supportive of the programs and new ideas that we brought in, they always helped us. Number one, the volunteers of Outreach Committee, I was overwhelmed with their support. They were, especially the sisters, they were always available, last minute things, the jumping in, yeah, done, it was done. So Jazakumullah khair to the volunteers. Last but not the least, the 2 sisters who have worked and who are the brains behind majority of these programs. Sister Amina Chaudhry, who's the lead for the Outreach Committee, and Sister Afrin Syed, who's also the lead of the secretary of the Outreach Committee. MashaAllah, these 2 sisters have been the leaders of the Outreach Committee for the last 2 years. And they have spent countless hours thinking, working, building relationships, talking to them. You know, us men, we are not very welcome in areas sometimes, right? So when the sisters were able to, mashallah, break the ice, build a relationship, and start working with them, building that partnership with them. So I have to give complete credit to these sisters, mashallah, Sister Amina Chaudhry as well as Sister Afreen, plus all the other sisters and all the other volunteers of the outreach team. So Jazakumullah khair, Sister Amina, Sister Afreen, for the great work that you have done. And I'm going to also request you guys to continue to be the leaders of the outreach team going forward. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Sohail bhai. Assalamu alaikum. Sir, कैसे मजाक काम खैर से अच्छा अस्सलाम वालेकुम साथ मेरा लड़का है आप सोहेल